When the great Tao is lost sight of, then people have to try to be kind and gentle. They try to compensate by being clever, but this only breeds hypocrisy and sleight of hand. When families fall out, relationships sour into useless formality. When the nation is misled and in chaos, ministers mouth empty promises. This is one of many great verses of the Tao, but this one really, really hits home to me in terms of sort of what we've spoken about with language and with words, and the description there of the word in which you think of things and the words in which you speak of things. They aren't really the things, they are a symbol or representation of those things. So there's always a little bit of a disconnect, and in that way a slight fallibility in language and language versus an actual experience. And similarly here, the Tao is talking about just the natural flow and occurrence of things, that sort of second nature that we've also spoken about before, that natural flavor of doing things in the flow versus intentionally trying to represent being kind and being gentle and trying to represent um, having a positive relationship with somebody, and the sort of disingenuous nature of that. And even though it's well intentioned and you're attempting to do something, we'll just say admirable, there is an untruthfulness in it because it's not coming naturally. Alan Watts would describe this as a double bind. And what he would say is it's like when you say, a double bind is basically when you are compelled or required to do something that is only acceptable if it happens naturally. And so an example of this is when you tell your kids, try to go to sleep. Well, you can't try and go to sleep. You need to just let sleep come naturally. Similarly, if you ask your partner, do you love me? You don't want them to say, well, I'm trying very hard to. You want that love to be almost something that they feel they have no control over, that it's just they love you and it's nothing that they're doing on purpose, but they just naturally love you. However, there's something that's unacceptable if someone says, I can try to love you. that's that's a far, it feels almost like it could be a cousin, but it's really far removed from the thing you actually want, which is the natural occurrence. And so the Tao is talking about that here, this double bind of, if you lose your flow in just acting naturally and being in unison with the way, then you have to do things like you have to try to be kind and gentle. And the falsehood of just having to do it by trying is going to be a far disconnected replica of what should be coming naturally. And so, in times when you find yourself intentionally trying to be loving towards somebody, or to be kind to somebody, or intentionally trying to follow through on your promises, just realize that you're having that experience in that way because you have fallen out of unison with the Tao and you have lost your flow. And so I will take it a step further. This chapter is not saying this particularly, but I will say it. Instead of focusing your energy and your effort on trying to be something or trying to provide something, your effort would be better spent and focused on getting back to being in the flow and being one with the Tao. And then those things will occur naturally and will be that much more impactful because they are happening naturally and not because you are intentionally trying to do them. So next time you find yourself trying to do something that you may feel should be coming naturally to you, but it's not, so you're trying to do it, consider if you might be able to not try to do it and instead try to reconnect with the Tao so that all of this is flowing and coming naturally.